Greetings and welcome once again to the Gaming Codex, a show right after explaining to you all the various words and terms used to describe video games and the video games industry. Today's term is that of gaming gear, and what exactly would that be? Well, according to a general definition, gaming gear, gamer gear, or gaming peripherals are computer or console peripherals marketed towards gamers. They may at times offer extended features like macro keys or enhanced sensors, but mostly are just regular peripherals with a different coat of paint, RGB lights, cool sounding names, and obnoxious marketing that contains so much ego stroking you'd think they are aimed at complete and utter narcissists. Okay, so I may have made up that definition because I couldn't actually find one, but that is the core idea of gaming peripherals, gaming gear, stuff that's being sold to gamers. And I've actually made a mistake already in this definition that I made up because I did not take into account chairs or desks. Technically they are on the periphery, so let's say that they're in there. Why does this category of things exist? Well, for one, you do sometimes end up in a situation where in order to perform actually quite well in a video game at a certain level of competitive play, you do need like something better than a genius optical scroll net mouse from 2005. You need, for example, something with enough DPI in the sensor to actually make a game playable in 2K or 4K. You may need a keyboard that has actual fast actuation in the keys. Or if you're playing a fighting game with a keyboard, which I know some of you may laugh, but the keyboard is the second best control method for a fighting game after an actual dedicated fight stick. Especially if it's a keyboard with N-key rollover, which is a feature that a normal keyboard may sometimes not have, but if it's a gaming one, a gaming branded one, sometimes it does have the N-key rollover feature, meaning that you can slam your face into the entire keyboard and all of the buttons will be actually pressed and recognized, meaning you can pull off some really sick combos. So at a fundamental level, the concept of gaming gear is a good thing, because you wouldn't want to have something that is dedicated towards the use you would want for that thing. You would want a keyboard that is made for video games because it may come with features built for video games like a macro key, for example, or more than one. Or it may come with switches that are silent so you won't wake the entire neighborhood when you're trying to play something. Or a mouse with multiple DPI settings so you can switch between them whenever you need to. Or a desk with RGB lights. No wait, you don't need that, do you? But because it's in the gamer category, that is what is being sold to a lot of people. And a lot of the stuff that is branded as being for gamers is usually really pricey, sometimes for reasons that are complete and utter bullshit. It's just a markup being added to a peripheral simply because, well, they're aiming at a segment that is known to have money, because a gaming PC costs money, a lot of it. Games, when you buy them new, they ain't cheap, so you know that that person will be willing to spend money on something that is to their taste, that is marketed towards them, that is made to stroke their ego. So it makes sense for peripherals in that category to be a bit more expensive than the average everyday ones. Which is why you will also find a lot of peripherals that do not actually have any gaming features. And I mean proper ones. Yeah, they may have some nice switches, absolutely, but they won't have anything like a macro key or something that will let you at least customize areas of the keyboard so the lighting will match some key customizations that you don't really want to remember and just look down at a glance and see where they are. And in those cases, it's a bit of a ripoff. More so when you see the exact same keyboard being sold at different prices, knowing full well it's the same keyboard you've probably reviewed like 3 times already. It's made by the same factory in Shenzhen and it's sold by, well, 50 other companies worldwide under different names. So what I'm saying is, gaming peripherals, gaming gear may not necessarily always be actually the best, which kind of goes against the popular definition, which is, well, the best. That's why it costs more money. It's just the absolute best out there. I mean, all those RGBs cost a lot and improve performance, right? No, RGB does nothing to improve performance. It's just a nice light show that is nice when you have it on things you can actually see. When you add RGBs to headphones, it kind of gets weird because you can see that, but again, it's more of a light show thing. It's made for streamers so they have something to bling around their heads, or for people going to events so they can attract attention and seem cool. But you don't need things like RGB chairs, because they're just kind of stupid fundamentally, or RGB desks. or gaming desks for that matter. Gaming desk especially I have a passionate hatred towards, because a year ago I was looking for a new desk and mostly what I found on sites were video game related desks, and they were all horrible. They were atrocities. They were expensive as hell, costing at least double what my current desk costs, offered less options, less space, less of everything, but sometimes came with a desk mat. And you'll often see that also in gaming chairs as well. Some of them will kind of kill your back eventually because they're not really all that super greatly designed. The lower brand ones especially, some of them are outright filled with trash. And I mean, they, instead of using, like foam or some material for the actual cushions, they just pile in trash. Bits of cloth and disregarded waste. Not the sog can, but the rags. I've actually seen a cross-section of one of those chairs. It was full of garbage. But still, again, that doesn't mean that all gaming peripherals or gaming-related things are bad. Some of them actually work and may be worth their money. I say maybe because all gaming related stuff is kind of always super duper ungodly expensive. Looking at your Razer, you are selling the Belkin Nostromo at a 50% price markup, the only difference being that you had your logo on it. Which brings us to the marketing definition. Cash cow. Gaming branded stuff sells. It sells a lot. It sells bejesus a lot. And it does so because if you actually read the material that's promoting this stuff, like the PR burbles and blubs, the press releases, they will often go for, well, you are the keyboard warrior that you must fight in the battlefields of the internet age of gaming, become the ultimate supreme, stuff that sort of resonates with 12-year-olds. They're aimed mostly at children who will nag their parents to get them that shiny thing, and their parents will cave in just to get them to shut up, and that's how things work. In spite of some of the things they're buying not being all that great for the price they have. Especially in the keyboard space. Like, I've become a total snob when it comes to keyboards after reviewing a bunch of them. I even designed my own keyboard with what I think the perfect keyboard would look like. And it's not something I can ever find in the market because it's just too much of a stupid design, and it's built for people like me. People like video editors just have a second keyboard with macros on it. I want mine to have two dials. One of them to be the Windows dial, because you can do crazy stuff with Windows and the dial thing than the computer they showed a while ago, and the other one to be just a volume knob. And then the macro keys separate and the USB hubs and stuff. You should probably add an SD card reader in there as well. I mean, how great would that be? Just have an SD card reader in your keyboard. And I kind of would also like it to be a PS2 because you really can't beat hardware interrupt in terms of the speed at which it can react, as it just tells the computer to saw it off and do what it tells it. But that's just a dream, isn't it? Because I doubt somebody's actually gonna make that. It seems too useful for nut jobs like me. So closes another edition of the Gaming Codex. Come back next time when we will talk about a brand new subject. Goodbye.